Two. Hi, this is Forever True TV. I am your host, Angelique, and tonight me and the kids going to be going over some comments and questions and answers to why people have their theories and what they are talking about now and the trending for this poor child, 19-year-old Kenneka Jenkins, who was found in the Crown Hotel. Nakia, kind of talk about again, how you heard about, the case and, what have you been doing so far to keep up with the case?
How I heard about the case, it came across the news station. A 19-year-old who walked into a freezer and froze to death. I've been following from, what was it called? The Freedom Fighters. I've been watching and following them. Doing my own little research, watching all the videos and the unedited ones and the edited ones. I'm confused a lot about what really would happen. The police video, they said it was a crime scene, but they didn't put no crime tape up. They didn't do that properly. I think her case wasn't handled correctly. I think it was a cover up. I don't know what part was covered up. I don't know what to believe in the case at all. Everything is confusing to me. So that's why I'm here in this group trying to find out what happened.
And one of the things I was wanting to know about was, did you did you see the Chicago interview with Teresa Martin, the mother of Kenneka?
The Chicago interview? Which one?
Yeah, they had a Chicago interview on the radio with Kenneka's mom after the incident. She kind of explained some things and whatnot, and she mentioned in there, things, with the police department, how the police actually wind up at the hotel. She mentioned about the 911 call. She mentioned about, the protocols and what they were doing while she was there trying to look for her daughter. Did you see that? If not, then I guess we're going to have to debunk that, but just listen to it instead of actually using the video recording itself, so we could definitely listen to it. I don't think it would be tonight, but we can definitely listen to it. Had you heard about it?
I've heard about it. I didn't actually see it, but I've heard about it. I heard about how she said there was a camera on top of it, on top of the freezer. I heard how she said that they wouldn't let her take pictures of Kenneka when she viewed the body, how they would rude to her when she came to the hotel. The 911 tape, the 911 tape that I did see in here was when she was telling them what should she do. She was trying to make a missing persons report, and they were telling her to wait and come back later. And I don't think they did things right. They were just kind of brushing her off, maybe to cover up their tracks. And then in the video that I did see with the medical examiner, the people that come and get the body, the undertaker, they was stuffing stuff inside the bag with Kenneka's in it, and everything that I seen on that part, I think they were doing something, hiding something. I don't think it was protected as a crime scene, because everybody was walking in and out, all the officers. It wasn't in there just watching everything. So anything could have been done.
Okay. And so I know that it's a lot of theories out there. There is, hundreds of theories, thousands of theories that pretty much are out there. From day one to now, there's still a lot of theories out there. So my thing is, what what is one of the main theories that that you may be or consider concerned about with this case? One of a theory. What kind of theories were you listening or not listening to, but more or less hearing out there?
Well, as to what happened to her,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
the theory, the one that I'm, this is my personal. I never mentioned it, but this is what I think. I think that stemming back to the hotel party, they never mentioned nothing about when the girl said in the video, you can hear her saying that she made the drink in the bathroom, and she said she's finna give the drink to the girl, which I think
Mm-hmm.
no one never. I never heard a police officer say that. I don't even think that's in the police report. But they didn't address that. I'm concerned about that. How did that's a way of how she got drugged. Nobody knows where the drug came from, how it got in her system. Why aren't
Mm-hmm.
they looking at that evidence right there? So she gave that girl, Kenneka, something. Um,
Do
I
you
think
honest?
I think she was drugged. I still believe that Ty and them did something to her based on that video, that first video that was aired on that news station. I didn't see the
Mm-hmm.
actual video, but I seen when they were saying that it was edited when it was two girls pointing at it and they had their hand in a way and they were showing that video of the news clip from earlier that day. I believe somebody was
Mm-hmm.
in that kitchen and followed her down. Well, directed her down to where to go. And they did something to her. And then when the police officer said that they found her frozen solid, I questioned that too because if she was frozen solid, how did they bring her out laying flat on a gurney? If she's frozen
Well,
solid, go ahead. Go ahead.
if you look at the footage, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but when I was looking at the footage, it's like 5 hours later. Um, when they actually brought her out, it was almost 5 hours later when they
Yeah,
brought her out.
I understand that part, but I work in the medical field, and if it
Okay.
was 5 hours later, when rigor mortis is set in your body is
Mm,
stiff. So
right.
from the photos that I seen, she wasn't flat. So how did they get her flat on that gurney? What did they do
Well,
to get her flat?
no signs of disrespect to the family or to Kenneka themselves. But you know what normally, if you work in the medical field, then you would know what normally they have to do in order to break the rigor mortis. They have to pretty much, I'm sorry to say it, but they pretty much have to, um, they have to pop the body. They have to, but then you would think that if they did do that, would it alter the autopsy?
Exactly.
So, but I know that normally when the morticians come in and do whatever they're going to do, I hate really talking about that, but they do have to pop the body. I'm going to see if Todd Walker, let me see if I can get Todd Walker because he works with the children and he also goes out and speaks to on the teen summits about, death on the streets
Mhm.
and how things happen. I'm going to check with him while we're here online, and I'm going to see if he can give us, see if he's available, and maybe he could come on the show tomorrow night, if not tonight, or to just speak while I'm here on the phone and see what he says because he works at the funeral home, but he goes and picks up the bodies from the hospital once they've been declared dead and things like that. So he does that and he brings them to the morgue. I mean, he picks them up from the morgue and he brings them to the funeral home. So I want to ask him that question while we're online.
Okay.
So you guys, meanwhile, I am making this phone call to see, and then once we get this phone call, if he answers the phone, then that's fine. He hasn't answered the phone, so um, I'm going to leave a message. Hello, I'm going to leave him a message. I'm going to try one more time to call him. He's probably working late because it's very early, so he may be at the funeral home or dealing with a funeral at this particular time. But he's a real good friend of mine. He's very good. He's pretty much family to my nephew on my sister's side, sister-in-law side. So he's really good at giving me information. So he's not there. So I'm going to leave a message. Hi, brother. This is me, Angelique. Happy New Year's. I wanted to go over something. At this particular time, I am doing Google Live, and I wanted to go over a couple of questions about, individuals who become rigor mortis, or how the protocol and procedure is of handling a deceased person. So give me a call back. You have my number. I'm not going to say it out loud because I am live, but you do have my number and you call me back when you can. Thank you and have a blessed day. Bye. Okay. So he's not answering, but just know that I called him and that he will call me back, and then we will have that on a later show. So with that being said, we're going to move on over to some of the observations and comments and theories that people have said about, the video of if Kenneka was alive in the freezer. So with that being said, Nakia, let's go with our first one by Mrs. Pickles 2. She says, some of your observations, shoes. Her left shoe was dirty on the right, so both shoes have dirt or shoe print of both shoes. Also, the dirt you keep mentioning looks like plastic garbage bag pieces, not dirt. I think she was brought in the black can liner garbage bag and dumped. And then someone came back and said, by the name of Richard Singletary, said, Mrs. Pickles, because you're dumb. And then someone came back and replied to her, Mrs. Pickles, that is debris off the floor. Good, Nikki Knight. That is debris off the floor. If you look at the first pictures with her facing towards the door, with her head in the corner facing downward, that is the way she was found. So the hand with the debris on her fingernail is the one she was lying on. What do you say about that? What Miss Pickles was saying about the observation of the shoe.
I think that it's possible that she could have got from when her laying on her. Wait a minute, when she was laying on her right side, she was on two different sides, and that's possible for her feet to be on the floor and getting dirt on it that way. I agree. And then it looks like trash bag on her now, but when we looked at it closer, it looks like dirt. And she was wearing a weave, and I know that weaves the black hair glue. It could be hair glue. So I'm not sure.
Okay.
I didn't physically see it, but it could go. It could be a trash. It don't. It could be a trash bag too. And that brings back that theory when I was saying that the man was pushing the cart in the kitchen. She could have been in that trash bag. So.
Okay. Now, do you honestly think that there is an actual? I really want an honest opinion. Have you, or do you honestly think that there's a big enough trash bag to put a whole body in?
For a small person, yes.
A small person, considering how many pounds? What's the height? Because Kenneka is very tall.
She's tall, but she's small. She's skinny. She's thin. So, yes, I believe that she could have fit. She could have fit in a heavy duty green trash bag.
Okay. I'm looking for my Tune. I'm trying to wait for Tune to come on. I wish she'd let me know she's here. But Desert, we have Desi on with us tonight, And she's saying no, she doesn't believe that there is a bag big enough to put a body in. Now, there's body bags, yes, but a trash bag, I don't think a trash bag is going to hold a child. That's an adult. She's not considered a child. She's considered an adult. I mean, I don't think it's again, we are all thank you. We are all we all have our own opinions, and again, we're open to opinions. Everybody has their freedom of speech. It's okay. And if you believe that it was, then that's your belief. We cannot condemn you for believing that. But for me, in my opinion, I don't believe that there is a bag that is out there, a trash bag that can hold an adult. It would literally rip. And now, again, a body bag is so stern that, it has zippers on it. That we have to latch it up when we put the body inside. It's a very heavy, thick plastic, so it's very it's not prone to tear when it comes to the body bag. But as far as trash bag, I don't think they put that girl in a trash bag. I don't. I was listening to, again, today, I was listening to her interview, Teresa's interview, and it was a lot of things that she was saying that had me going back and forth like, okay, get it out, Miss Teresa. I know it's hard for you, but get it out. And some of the things that she was saying, it made sense. And then it didn't make sense. So we can kind of play around with it tomorrow night. If you want to do a show on that tomorrow night, we can, where we just sit and we just listen to the actual 911 call, as well as the interview with the Chicago radio station. Thank you so much, Desi. I appreciate you, sweetheart. And so with that being said, you have to say what you have to say, and I have to say what I have to say. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
So, with that, I'm just gonna say I don't agree that there was a plastic bag. I really don't. I don't agree. I think it was a debris off the ground. I may have said dirt in the videos, but dirt is debris. It's debris, and I look at it as the place is under construction. There's going to be debris. There's going to be dirt. Again, I was looking at the video, and I was trying my best and looking at the actual photos. And I am going to go again and look at those photos again and stare at those photos until it sticks out on each one. And I'm going to actually, I really just want to just print them out so I can just line them up and really look and start marking on each one of them and say, okay, this is what sticks out to me on these actual photos. So those are things that I would like to do. Yeah. So I hear you. So with that being said, I'm going to come tell you another one. We're going to go to the next one, which is Tim Stanley. And by the way, thank you everyone who's tuning in with Forever True TV. Again, that's just now coming on. We are just pretty much talking about the comments, and we're just pretty much kind of debunking or just talking about them, having an open discussion on what we think possibly have happened besides what the conclusion of what I had in the beginning. Last but not least, if you love or like, please just tap on the like button down at the bottom and then go and share it and bring other people so they can have their opinions as well. Again, this is open. We do not condemn anybody for what they say, but we are not going to allow you to bash us while we go through this here discussion. So, with that being said, Tim Stanley says, there's something none of you YouTubers are getting. This is not Kenneka. Kenneka was never at the hotel. That's why when they came into the hotel, they went all the way around the ramp and walked up those steps. You all really believing this crackhead looking foot belongs to that 19-year-old skinny Siamese cat looking chick Mama T, shows Dr. Oz, saying this is the last video I have of my daughter right before she left to go to the hotel. Hey, these are pictures of an actress laying in the freezer, taking Kenneka's place, because there is not one single picture or video of the real Kenneka in the hotel, guys. I've done this research. Believe me, this is not the same chick Mama T. Kenneka's mother shows of Kenneka on the Dr. Oz show. Different people, at least 3, maybe 4 different girls playing Kenneka. Now I'm gonna stop right there because this is a long paragraph, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't believe. Hi, Alea Muhammad, thank you for coming. Hannah, thank you, thank you. But before I get on that, I need to let's go through this here. What do you feel about it being all these quote so-called actors? Do you think they would even have enough time to do that? Put that together?
No.
And so he's actually, saying that this person is definitely not Kenneka. I mean, he's adamant. He's saying that he's definitely not Kenneka.
That's his opinion. Is someone else on?
No. It's just us. It's just us.
Mama
it's just us.
Miss Teresa said that was her daughter. She knows her daughter. And I believe that that's her daughter. That's Kenneka.
Mm-hmm. And she definitely says it. She says it twice. She says it on the not the 911 call. I'm sorry. She says it on the interview. She definitely says it on the interview. I remember seeing it on the interview, hearing it on the interview. Let's see. So here she is actually speaking here on this here, and I want to see. Because to go through any loss is terrible. To go through it in front of the public eye is just. So she talks. The young lady talks to her, and asks. So she talks about the freezer. I'm hearing it from the media or whatever. Just listen. And my attorney as well. After she's gone. She's gone. Right. And then at the meeting, the sergeant said they had numerous of murders, deaths or whatever, however he named it. Don't quote me. He said, but this is the first time we ever had to deal with an attorney. And rolled his eyes at me like, how could you be mad at me when I'm the one that's taking the loss? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, where do you? Like you was doing something. Exactly. Right. If nothing else, people should have been treating you with compassion. Exactly. If nothing else. And then with her cell phone, they did ask me twice for her phone. And you know why? I was afraid to go back up there because the next day I asked the detective when he called my phone and when he was asking me about her phone and comes back to the Rosemont Police Department to come up there, and I was not going by myself. It's some help. Mm-hmm. Okay. The hotel offered to pay for Kenneka's funeral. Did you accept their offer? Okay. They offered to pay for her. Yes. You know why I did not accept? I refused. Because even though they never once gave me their condolences, well, of course they probably did after I made initial clues to Facebook and the media. How could you offer to pay? You all don't care. It's not about money. It's not about money. That's why I reached out to the world, for help. And I'm still asking for help because something's just not right. Okay, so she's basically saying on the interview, she's saying that something is just not right. And that was in the beginning. But before I speak on that, I just want to let Miss Desi know that nobody is being disrespectful tonight, sweetheart. It's just that we just want to make that clear with those who want to, give their opinion. Sometimes people can be a little irate, and they can make disrespectful comments. And we just want to make sure that everyone is aware of, being mindful that everybody has an opinion and it's okay to express your opinion. That's all. No one is being disrespectful. I know you'll get on them anyway, right, Desi? You'll make sure they handle, right, Miss Desi? So, so pretty much what we're doing is when we say debunking, we're pretty much just going through the comments that were made. So we're pretty much just going through them and talking and discussing them and giving our opinions on if we feel that they were right or wrong, or what do we see in it. So now we're gonna move on to some up to the end of this here part. It says this is a fact. Take still photos from the last year's videos of Kenneka and her friends and superimpose them over each other. At least 3 different sets of ears and teeth. Biometrics do not lie. It says that is a nasty ass crackhead foot. Forgive me for reading this here, but this is the kind of stuff we get. This is the kind of stuff we get. And then it says, come on, guys. Have you ever seen a 19-year-old girl with a foot like that? What's wrong with her feet? At least, ain't nothing wrong with it. Everybody's foot is not the same. They probably don't have no light-skinned foot with, beautiful, well polished toes. Because if don't let me put my feet up, because my feet, they cute. But of course, I've seen feet that was better, better looking than mine. So don't let me go there. So anyway, it says that it is state law that any unattended death or be investigated as if it's a homicide. If the victim is a 19-year-old with no health problems and no signs of suicide, they would have been forced to tape the entire kitchen and investigate unless no one really died. Well, that is a very, 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 very open and ending statement. What he is saying, he is not even. He's very adamant about that. What do you think about that, Nakia?
Well, that kind of gets me the question: why didn't they investigate the right way? um, See, that's what I mean when I say all these different comments and theories. It has me confused. Now, with him saying that, is that the reason why they didn't do a proper investigation? Is that the reason why they automatically said it was a homicide? I mean, a death investigation, and then they changed it to a crime. Well, I can't remember whether they said it was a crime scene or
they said it was a crime investigation,
and then they changed it to a death investigation.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of I don't know what to think on that one. That
So, what do you think? What do you think?
I said I didn't. I don't know what to think on that one.
Okay. So for me, I think that I like she said, they told her it was in the beginning. They said it was a crime scene,
Right.
and then from the crime scene, they said that she was it went from a crime scene to a death investigation. So that's where I'm at with it. They're mentioning that kind of, they're saying those different types of things. I'm like, wait a minute, come on now. It's got to be more to it than that. I thought it was more to it than that too.
Okay.
I thought it was more to it than that as well. So that's pretty much where I am with that. On that part. So let me just go ahead and say, so we got people on live. We're live right now. And so we are live right now and we can see everything. So So I'd rather for us to go ahead and go live. Miss Jessica is on. She's come on today, but she may not be able to sit very long, and so has my Sade. They are able to come on tonight. Thank you guys for coming on, you ladies. Thank you so much for joining us again tonight. We have a few people that's in the house. John Q is in the house. Hi, John Q. How are you? Thank you for coming over and sitting with us tonight with our show. I appreciate that. So with that being said, Sade, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
How you doing today, my love?
I'm all right.
Uh-huh. So so how is things going? Have you been able to play catch up with us?
No, not today.
Okay. So what we're going over is we were going over a few things that was happening with the case. There was a gentleman that had been spoke out as stating that it was not Kenneka. It actually was not Kenneka. When in actuality, even Mrs. Martin, Kenneka's mom, said that it was her.
In the casket? Is that what
Yeah,
you're referring to?
in the video, in all of the videos, that it was her.
Well, if
And now this is her own mom saying that it was
don't
her.
nobody know their child like the mother that had them know them. So
Okay.
I just think that since there's been so much editing of the footage and stuff that everybody is thinking that maybe it's not her. Somebody is acting and playing out her because there's been so much editing going on with the footage, which makes it look off balance with actually being Kenneka. But I truly think that it was her in the videos, and if her mom said it, she knows what she's talking about. She know her child, how she walk, how she look, how she slouch, whatever the case may be. So I think it's just from the editing of the footage and all that stuff, and then mixed up with all the lies and different stories and all that.
Okay. So so now moving on with another comment. We're discussing the topic is about Kenneka. Again, the topic is about Kenneka, but we're discussing what people are stating, the comments that they're stating up under the video that we did. Was she alive in the freezer? So we're discussing their comments. That's exactly what we're doing. I'm letting everybody know that that's what we're doing tonight. We're just discussing that. At the end, we're going to go through the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to debunk the video of the police officers actually inside the kitchen and if they followed protocol. So you'll be able to see my screen, and I'll be sharing my screen with you guys so you guys can see the difference of what is required and what the police actually did. So I hope I was able to answer that question for some of my brothers and sisters out there. So right now we have Kareem. Kareem says, Tim, thank you. Because after all the viewing of the video and proof be proven, they are still saying that this is Kenneka when it isn't. Something else happened to the girl. So in general, Sharon Smith, which we talked about last night, she came back. She says, I would consider your theory, except it's silly. We're not talking about famous people or government officials or anyone who'd merit such an involved cover-up. Sorry, but you watch too many movies and action thriller TV shows. So this is Sharon Smith. She doesn't agree with Tim Stanley and his theory on the fact that it wasn't her. So again, we have someone else that does that. Last but not least, there's another person named Gangsta Queen that says, Tim Stanley, I don't think she was ever there either. Also videos and Snapchat videos to period. Then she says, then Andrew comes in and says, really, Tim? Really? They should have made this a crime scene, but they did not. Cover up that they treated this like a crime scene and it would have been a lot of evidence. So that's true. So since we've already been stuck on that part, everybody is constantly talking about that crime scene. We're gonna go straight into the crime scene. Do you guys mind if we go straight into the crime scene? What about you? What about you, Jessica
Oh, I don't
and the
mind.
kids? Okay, so the kid, don't you get on mute on me, Queen. Don't you get on mute on me, Queen. You got to stay with me.
I'm here.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to actually go and I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And we're going to go from there. And then we're going to see what we see. So can you see my screen, my folks?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to first look at this here particular one. So you can see this one. This one's 9/9, and it's about 3:30 in the morning. This is the last time we will see our precious child walk in. So I'm going to show you what we see. Now, I don't know if we should go with a high resolution like this here or just see. I won't be able to do nothing with that one. So we're going to go like this. Okay. So as you can see right now, you can see our sister. She's going into the actual, going towards the freezer. From there, if you notice the time jumps from 03:33 or 3:34 around that time. It jumps into in the morning, and I'll be able to answer. We'll do some questions and answers at the end. So yes, the upper kitchen is part of the crime scene. And do you see the gentleman that is over here on this side? You see how he comes in and then he walks back out? He looks and then he walks back out. Like, why didn't he go?
And he came in right after she walked through.
Well,
actually, he didn't, because if you look at the time, it jumps. It just appears like he did, but he really didn't. It was several hours later when he popped up.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Now you see, look, it's 12 o'clock. Now it's the 10th. So now watch. Now that one's off. Now let me show you. Now here he is coming in. This is the next scene. Now we're going into the 10th, and he's coming in. So let's go ahead and let's check it out. Now he's coming straight in. And he goes straight there. And I'm looking to see, it looks like to me, by the steps that he's taking in the area over there, it looked like he actually had to open up the door to get in there. To me, that's what it looked like to me. Oh. With that being said, that was at 12:24, right? So now we're looking at 9:10. It's 0:24:59, 0:25:59. So this is when they come in. But previously, before they were there, let me show you what they were doing. The police officers were doing. This is what the police officers were doing. So this one is actually here. This one is where they're in the hallways at 12:21. So they're literally in the hallways right now at 12:21. And they're going up and down the hallways and they're looking with flashlights. He got gloves on already. What would he have gloves on for? So he's here, and this here is now, you see the manager, he's going down the hallways now at 1 o'clock in the morning. Where he going? Now it's 02:47 in the morning on the 10th. So now they've stopped, right? But then they're here. Hold on, I'm gonna exit out of there now. But now they're here in this area. This is at 12:10. So this is when they first came in. They got gloves on already. That's the same guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, So, and then here he comes with his bag of food. Now I remember that. This is the bag of food. This is about 12:26, 12:27 at night. So this is my thing. If they're here at 12:26, people are coming down. They're actually looking for her, but now they're headed over this way. This one was at 12:22. They're in the hallway. So right before they go into the hallways and go in this area, they're at the lower stairways. Then they come here and they move from here. And from there, that's when they end up in the kitchen. So now that this has become a crime scene, am I right? This has actually become a crime scene.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we go any further, you guys, I want you to see what we've done. We went here to the National Institute of Justice, where it's a guide to death scene investigation, arriving at the death scene. Now, there's more different places that you can actually go to. But the thing about it, when you go to different ones, they have like different states and stuff like this. But this is the National Institute of Justice. So it's open to everybody. So now we're getting ready to debunk the video if they were following the protocols, you guys. You ready? So it says when the death investigator first arrives at the crime scene, he or she must confirm the death and conduct a scene walkthrough. So who is the person who did the walkthrough?
The manager looked like.
Let's see. It looked like the manager was the one who did the walkthrough, right?
Yep.
But this is the first person on the scene. This is the first person on the scene. Am I correct?
Yes.
You're right.
Okay. So now that we've seen that, it says the reason of doing the principle of doing the death scene. Let's see. The principle of doing this here is why. It is the introduction at the scene allows the investigator to establish formal contact with other official agency representatives. The investigator must identify the first responder to ascertain if any artifacts or contamination may have been introduced to the death scene. Now that right there tells us what? That the manager walked in first, and there was a possibility that he contaminated
everything. He contaminated everything.
Scene. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
So, okay. So the investigator must work with all key people to ensure command protocol and scene safety prior to his or her entrance into the scene. Listen to the word. It says the investigator must work with all key people. That's the EMTs, the coroners, everybody. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And said, it says authorization, medical examiner, coroner, official, office, policy manual, state of federal statutory authority. That means that with that being said, the procedure upon arrival at the scene and prior to entering the scene, the investigator should, 1, identify the lead investigator at the scene and present identification. 2, identify other essential officials, such as law enforcement, fires, as social and child protective services, and explain the investigator's role in the investigation. Then 3, identify and document the identity of the first essential officials to the crime scene itself, pretty much. And then determine the scene safe and secured. Now, with that being said, exercising the scene safety and security. Yes.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but John Q made a comment saying that Officer Wallace was the first officer on the scene.
Okay. Officer Wallace was the first officer on the scene. Uh-huh.
Because we said it was the manager.
But we see that it's the manager. So we see that the manager was the first person on the scene. And then Officer Wallace came on afterwards. Is that
right? That's what I thought.
About? Oh, okay. Okay.
But he said that he was the first one. The officer was the first one on the scene.
Okay. So in general, he was not. We see that he was not. He may have been the first officer there on the scene, but he was not the first person on the scene. Right. So it could be that he was the first officer there, but was not the first person. So, so with that being said, I am going to, we are going to go into the part right here, and it says Officer Walsh. Okay, so now we're going to go right here. Let's look and see what else we see here. So now that we see that the police officers then came out, let's see what happened. And I'm going to move this fast so we don't have to. Now you see all that walking, all that damn. Oh, excuse my language. Lord, forgive me. Forgive me, y'all. Forgive me, y'all. Forgive me, y'all.
You okay?
Forgive me, y'all. So the fact still remains. He's walking back and forth. Oh my God. How many times he didn't walk? He didn't went the first. Look at him. Look. Oh my. Okay, so that looks like he was actually putting something to keep the door open. But still, he picked up something. What if somebody put they? Okay. Let me go. Let me just relax. I get a little anxious when I see something that I know that is not right. That man, now they didn't brought 3 officers, 4 officers. Lord have mercy. How many of these officers then walked in here? Wasn't he? Okay, let's go back. We're going to go back. It says, what does it say up here? Again, it says that the investigator must identify the first responder. The investigator must work all the keys. The investigator shall do the initiative introduction. And then he must introduction at the scene help to establish a collaborative investigative effort, determining scenes to make sure that it is safe. He says that he shall establish a scene safety and security prior to entering the scene to prevent injury or loss of life. You know, upon the arrival, he's supposed to assess and establish physical boundaries. Do you see right here where it says procedure? A, that's the first thing he's supposed to do, was to assess and or establish a physical boundary. Meaning that he was supposed to have all those police officers come walking in all over the place. They were supposed to already have yellow tape getting ready to start roping stuff off. They didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. Right? So,
nope.
All right. So that was one of the things that we saw in this video. I am so like, I'm so like done with these people. I'm going to close out these here because I don't need these open anymore on this here area. We only going to be looking at the kitchen. So this is what we're going to be looking at. So I'm just opening and closing. So I am so sorry, you guys, but I really, really, am really happy to see that. Okay. So now, is that more people? Oh my God! How many people was walking around that place like that? Look at all them walking around. Just walking all around. Ain't established no boundaries or nothing. They just standing around. What, let me ask you a question. We're gonna stop right here. I just want to get some opinions from everybody before we move further on this here. I'm really like disgusted in this here matter. I'm really disgusted. Jessica, are you online with us tonight?
Yes.
What do you feel about that?
What are you doing here?
You talking about when you saw what you just showed about the police walking around?
Yeah, I mean, talk to us. What do you think about that?
Well, the first thing I thought when I saw that initially was, why they didn't have any foot coverings on and why wasn't the area taped off? Because if they showed, if they released a clip to the public that she walked through that area, then I would think that would be a part of the crime scene as well as the area that she was discovered in. So that was a little quite disturbing to me when I first saw that.
And now, is this not your first time? I know this is not your first time seeing it. So,
No.
when I think we had debunked it before. I'm not sure. I want to say we did, and we were looking at it. But my thing is now that you've seen it again, and we actually putting it together. Literally, we are putting the crime scene, excuse me, the crime scene and the documentation together, where we're seeing it both together online together. I mean, that is some detrimental. That's some mess right there.
Now, what I will say is they might have had the area taped off beyond the view of the camera. You know, I was thinking that as well, that the area was, you know, they have the little yellow tape or whatever, that it might have been put up out of view of the camera from how we saw it. I really had a hard time believing that they didn't do that, but it's possible that they didn't do it or they did, but I don't know. I watch enough Dateline and other crime shows to know that, you know, normally when they do discover somebody deceased, that they do wear like little coverings on their feet, so so they don't tamper with or contaminate any kind of evidence that's lying around. But I'm thinking because she was discovered further, then maybe that's why they freely walked around like that with, nothing on. Because, according to them, she wasn't found in the kitchen she walked in. She was discovered, around a corner in another area. So that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah. What about you? What about you, Sade? Nakia, you next. So you better come off that mute, Queen. So what about you?
I think that we should have still been able to see some yellow tape regardless. Like, even if it was out of like the crime scene, I think we would if they would have did what they were supposed to do and wrapped it around, we would have still been able to see at least some of it. But to me, it seems like based on what they did, it seems like they were poorly trained or something like that, because I just don't understand it. No gloves, no nothing. Well, only thing that I did see was the markings for the what do they call it? That you put by the evidence, things that you find.
Oh yeah, like the cardboards.
Right, those the only things that I saw. Yeah, those things. But other than that, it was a poorly job done. And I thought that the forensic people were supposed to be in there as well for fingerprints and stuff. Or do the officers do that?
No, the actual crime scene investigators come in, which are considered EMT, and that is where let me let you guys let Nakia answer, and then I'll go ahead and read that to you. So Nakia, what do you think about that?
I think that they didn't care. They didn't put no yellow tape. They didn't do nothing right. They didn't care. I just feel like they didn't care. They didn't do it the right way. Nothing was done the right way.
Okay. So let me read, because I'm going to piggyback off of what Sade just said about, the EMT or the crime scene investigator. This one is an evidence technician. And let me just read what he says. He says, while on duty, patrol units located a missing person, Kenneka L. Jenkins, inside a walk-in freezer on the west side of the Crown Plaza Hotel. The location was classified as a crime scene. You hear what he said? He said the location was classified as a crime scene, and I was dispatched to the scene to act as an evidence technician. Location. The location is a multi-story occupied hotel. I entered on the west end of the hotel near a trash compactor on the first floor. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that is where they had the employee entrance on the outside when they were debunking and doing the videos and moving all around, where possibly she walked up. And I have not seen that camera yet, so I really want to see that camera. There was a camera up there, but Gray Hughes debunked it. He said she must have walked up under the camera because it didn't show her on the camera. But I still didn't see a footage of that area. So I'm gonna look for that actual file and footage and see if we can go through that. And it says, I observed the kitchen area to be empty and appeared to be unused at the time of the call. When I entered the kitchen and freezer area, all doors were open and unlatched. You hear that? All doors were opened and unlatched. I observed no signs of forced entry on any of the doors. It says, when I entered the walk-in freezer, I observed there to be another walk-in freezer inside where the victim was located. The door to that freezer was also open when I entered. I observed both freezer doors to have an inside door release on the inside of the door that could be pushed to exit the freezer. Both freezers were lighted by a working light bulb. I observed no frozen goods inside the freezer. It also appeared to be in a working state, but unused at the time of the incident. The victim was lying on her left side with her face looking towards the northwest corner of the freezer. The victim's torso and legs were on the north side of the freezer in the front of the doorway. I observed the victim's left arm to be underneath her body and the right arm in front of her body. The victim was wearing the blue jeans, a white top, and blue jean jacket. The victim had her left shoe on and her right shoe was off and located behind her body. I observed a small laceration on the victim's right foot. The victim's body was rigid and cold to the touch. The temperature inside the freezer was 44 degrees, and the temperature to the freezer the victim was inside was 34 degrees. I observed no other signs of trauma except for the right foot. The recorded temperature, it says, note, recorded temperatures were taken after the freezer doors had been left open during the investigation and may possibly not reflect the temperatures at the time the body was found. And then it says, evidence collected was photos of the scene, the victim's 2 lip gloss, right shoe, hair scrunchie that were located inside the freezer were entered into evidence. So with that being said, I wanted to say, the reason why I read that is because this is what the evidence investigator, the crime scene investigator stated what he saw. But if there's one thing that you guys, after I read that, did you notice something that was missing from this evidence report? Did anybody notice that? Talk to me, somebody.
Yeah, I noticed it.
So what was one of the things that you noticed that was not on his report? Could any of our people who are watching, can they tell us what could have possibly been missing?
You talking about just from that area?
Yeah, no, just from, okay, I could just say this here. Just the very first part, being in the medical world or being in the world of having to transcribe or write things down, it says, while on duty, patrol units located a missing person. I'm paraphrasing. Inside a walk-in freezer. The location was classified as a crime scene, and I was dispatched to the scene to act as an evidence technician. That's all he said. And then he goes into location and victim and then evidence.
He never stated that she was dead.
He never put a time of his arrival.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you do a report, you're supposed to put approximate or the exact time when you look at your watch. He didn't put no time, so we don't know how long that door had been open. We really don't know. He says, note, the recorded temperature was taken after the freezer door had been left open during the investigation and may possibly not reflect the temperatures at the time the body was found. That's true, I understand that. But he never put a time on there. Usually when we have a fall at the hospital or anywhere, they'll say On this particular day, at approximately this particular time, we found a patient down on the floor in the location of where the patient was, and so on and so on. This was recorded at so on and so on time. Indication of what time he actually did this report. Normally, they actually put it in when they actually do the report or not. But I don't see anything. I didn't see that. So let's go ahead and go back to over to sharing the screen, and we're going to do a little bit more debunking before we end our show, and then we're going to continue our show tomorrow with the continuance of the debunking. So let's go in and share the screen. So let's go ahead and share the screen. So you guys can see, can you see the screen? Can everybody see the screen?
Yeah.
We see you.
You see me? You see me?
I see the screen.
You see the screen.
Yeah,
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's go ahead and let's go here. So now it says to confirm or pronounce the death. It says the authorization would be by the medical examiner, coroner's office, official office policy manual. That's based on them of how they do it. So upon the arrival of the scene, the investigator should locate and view the body, check for pulse and respiration and reflexes as appropriate, identify and document the individual who made the official determination of the death, including the date and time and the location of the determination, and ensure death is pronounced as required. So with that being said, they actually called the doctor in order to get that done. Once the death has been determined and the rescue or resuscitative efforts cease, the medical legal jurisdiction can be established. It is vital that this occur prior to the medical examiner and coroners assuming any responsibility. So before they even assume any responsibility, they're already supposed to determine the death, pretty much determine and make the actual death, document the death, and the ensure the appropriate personnel are there to actually confirm the time of death. Is that correct to you guys? Do you guys see that? Okay, so now we're going to go in here and we're going to continue to look at these here people. I hear noise. So John Q says at the time of the arrival of the police technician is recorded in the crime scene log. Well, it's recorded in the crime scene log, but by him making the actual log himself, he typed up his report. He did not put in a time on there. That's all we were saying, that it wasn't a time on the actual report. So that means we have to dig deeper in order to find out. But I agree. I'm John Q with the time of the arrival of the police technicians. Right now, we're looking now at all these police all around this place, and they're going from one person to another. You can tell that looks like the sergeant. It looks like he's trying to tell everyone. So see the one that just walked out with the salt and pepper hair? He was the first one on the crime scene. Why is he not staying? He's walking out. Do you guys see that? I'm going to move a little bit faster for time consuming. And see, so he was the first one on there. This one's the first one there. And it looks like he's describing what he's doing. And now he's just having a nice conversation. Is he a sergeant? Does he have sergeant badge on his arm? Now it says, okay, so here they come, right here. And once they come in, it states, so right there when we were talking about about them coming in, and then talking about the scene and getting a actual official of time of death. It says on the actual, I'm going to let you guys continue to watch that while I read this here. I know that that you guys are steady going back and forth. So under the Rosemont Department of Public Safety, the death and hospitalization report states that the date pronounced is 9/10, and the time that it was pronounced was at 00:48. So if that's the case, when they arrive, they are the ones who actually pronounced 12:48 a.m. was the time of her death. But they did not remove her until 5:10 in the morning. And then the body was transferred to the medical examiner's office. So the whole time, we still don't have the key purpose of us actually watching this video now at this time. I wanted to just allow people to see the protocols that were breached during this whole time. They're just walking all over this crime scene. And that was, thank you so much, Officer Walsh talking to his supervisor. Thank you, I appreciate that. I'm just in awe. They're just walking around this whole place and haven't done anything to actually, secure the place. To me, they haven't secured the place, not to me. And again, you guys were saying that it's a possibility that it was outside of the camera. But even on the photos, they would at least show some type of crime scene in that area. And why they didn't put no crime scene just around in this area? This is the crime scene. So why they didn't put something starting in this area and moving back?
That's why I said we should have at least saw a piece of crime scene tape. We ain't seen none.
None. And they all just walking back and forth like they don't know what the hell they doing. But that's the reason why they're called public safety officers. Did you notice that if you notice that they're public safety officers? It says public safety officers. Oh God. So to me, they're just sitting around. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop it here. We're stopping at a total of 12:59. I'm going to stop it there because we're going to debunk some more tomorrow on this video. We're not finished with this video, but there is some things that I want to discuss with you guys. As you can see, that it says participate in the scene briefing. And then it tells you here the procedure. When participating in a scene briefing, the investigator should locate the staging area. Entry point to scene command post. Document the scene location consistent with other agencies. Determine nature and scope of investigation by obtaining preliminary investigative details, such as the suspicious versus non-suspicious death of multiple scenes. Confirm that initial accounts of incident are obtained from the first witnesses, which we don't do that. I mean, we're not worried about that at this particular time, except for the manager. That was the first one that was on the scene. Then when you conduct the scene walkthrough, I'm just kind of going through this here so the next time we don't have to go through this here because this is the long part of the show. Conducting a scene walkthrough provides the investigators with an overview of the entire scene. It provides the investigator with first opportunities to locate, view the body, identify the valuable and fragile evidence, and determine initial investigative procedures, providing for a systematic examination and documentation of the scene and the body. That's where you see that's where you're going to see when the actual technician comes in. He's taking all these pictures. They're taking pictures of the evidence that was brought, actually like the scrunchie and the watch and all these things that were taken from the scene, and actually from the body. And then it says the chain of custody, ensuring that the integrity of the evidence by establishing and maintaining a chain of custody is vital to the investigation. This will be safeguard against subsequent allegations of tampering, theft, planting, and contaminations of evidence. So what was those medical examiners stuffing in her bag, in that bag, stuffing inside of the big body bag that Kenneka was in? We don't know that. And all we know is that it's apparently supposed to be some evidence or something that came from the crime scene. Am I right? Do you guys, if you don't agree, let me know. So they didn't have nothing. What you guys think about that? So with that being said, those that are viewing, you can always go to, if you want to do follow up and look at what we're looking at, you can always go over here to National Institute of Justice. We also have another one called the Forensic Science Simplified, which it gives you information how you can do the crime scene investigation, which pretty much is the same by, picking up, doing things while you're there. At the same time, I know this is maybe gory, but there's 21 steps of an autopsy. And this gentleman here actually gives you information on what they do while they're taking care of the body. So these are things that you guys probably would want to look at and get involved into. So with that being said, I am going to stop sharing my screen and we're going to go back live here at the station. Oh my God. So with all that being said, let's take a few comments and then we're going to go ahead and end this here session for tonight with everybody on mute. Thank you so much. But y'all ain't gonna leave me now. Y'all better not be leaving me over there. Nakia, you better still be here. So with that being said, let's take a few questions. So we have the arrival of the let's see, John Q said at the time of arrival of the police technician is recorded in the crime scene log report on the Rosemont website. We talked about that one already. Cherry Path says, at this time, Teresa has just arrived at the hotel and is sitting in the conference room. Well, we are going to look at that video and see if she arrived. So she did say that she came in early and she was, and while she was there, she said she came back and forth a few times. And John Q says the total time it took to contaminate the entire kitchen was 4 minutes and 43 seconds, starting from the police officers, EMS responders, 2 K9 officers, and the ME officials. I believe that I really do think that they contaminated that area. And I believe that I think that they closed the case down a little too soon. They didn't, to me, I feel that there could have been just a little bit more investigating. We're going to examine the autopsy report, the so-called autopsy report they had first. But so it's fine. I totally understand things go, but I think that they did do a botched job on the investigation. And yes, the possibility we do need to get the FBI involved. Again, I still believe that she was alive in that freezer though, but there could be more to it. And if nothing else, I really honestly cannot say if someone drugged her or she took the medication on her own. This is my opinion. And the reason why I say that, because we all partied. Everybody was partying. Everybody was having a good time. But the bottom line is that she damn sure it was drugged. It was that I can't say whether she, which is still kind of stupid, sounds stupid to me, and I'm kind of like double-minding myself. But it's like, did she drug herself just to have a good time, not knowing the effects, or did somebody actually really drug that child? So, with that being said, Sade, you have anything that you would like to say before we go this evening?
Huh?
What do you say about that?
About whether the medicine that was in her body?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I'm kind of leaning towards what you're saying, and maybe she took it and didn't know the effects of it, and it affected her body in a different way that it don't normally affect people that take it on an everyday basis. But then again, was it put in her cup? And I'm thinking back to maybe was it put in her cup? What was white foamy stuff? And like it was little things they were saying and doing. You could tell that they were doing something to a cup in a hotel room. So I'm kind of in between with it. Not really sure.
Okay. Well, with that being said, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in with Forever True TV. I am your host, Angelique. We will be on tomorrow night. We will continue debunking that one video of what the police officers did all the way to the end. If it takes us a whole week to look at the video, we will look at the video and go through the National Institute of Justice crime scene investigation and the protocols to see if they actually followed. We already know now that they did not follow the fact of protecting the actual crime scene from being contaminated by everyone walking all over the actual crime scene itself. Not only that, we have depicted and looked at the video. We've seen that, as Sade was saying, and Jessica and Nakia was saying, there was no yellow tape. And even if it was a possibility that the yellow tape was outside of the camera video itself, then we at least should have seen yellow tape when they were out there taking pictures of everything. So we didn't see it, and I didn't see it, and I'm of course you're someone like you did not see it. So with that being said, I thank you very much for tuning in with us. I thank you for taking your time. Share, like, and subscribe. You are really, truly seeking justice for Kenneka. Again, I want to just say this last thing. Please keep the Martin and the Jenkins family in prayer. We, some people don't know what it feels like to lose a child like this here, and some do. But those that don't, just remember that that woman is going through something. Regardless of how she's responding, she is going through something by losing a child. With that all being said, keep her in prayer. Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, as we leave this place, we thank you for the opportunity that we had tonight, and we thank you for what you're going to do in the future for each and every one of us. Stretch forth those blessings and cover and protection of the blood of Jesus over each and everybody, and I'll see you guys later. In Jesus' name, amen. Bye.
Bye.